Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. Here we are in the East Coast, standing in front of this very pointy thing here. If you guys have any information on said pointy building, let me know. You know when it was built, but I'm not here to be your National Geographic counselor. I'm here to play some poker. So let's get into some fun festivities and enjoy ourselves in the East Coast and see what the hell the East Coast has got to offer for poker. As you can see, there's no poker cards here. There's a couple of hands that we need to go over, but unfortunately, I was incapable of capturing them in front of me. So you're stuck with this fat face for now. Note, sir. That's why we have this massive iPad here to help us keep track of what we got. Oh my goodness. Anyways, on the very first hand of today's session, we are playing our own meetup game at the Baltimore Horseshoe Casino. It's a wonderful place to be. It's where me and Wolfgang came this time last year, and it was by far and away one of the most fun experiences I ever had. And the very first hand of note, we looked down at a pretty beautiful hand. There's a $10 straddle on in this 2 or 1-3 game, and I make a $30 to go with pocket tens. A couple of people make the call, like 3 or 4 people. There is so much money in the middle that is dead and easy for the taking, and the straddler obliges by 3-betting now to $90 for such a small sizing. He's sitting on what is effectively like not that much money, like 30 big blinds. He has 300 to start with. We're gonna go ahead and put them all in. I make it $300 to go, effectively putting everyone in the hand all in. Everyone folds. The straddler thinks about it for a second and then decides to make the call, knowing that I'm a donkey and I can probably have any 2 here. Unlucky for him is I have pocket tens, and unlucky for me, he can beat pocket tens. He has pocket queens. We end up running a board out here that comes out Jack 9-7. Okay, we now flop ourselves some equity, but the turn and the river do not help us in any bit. We do not improve, and unfortunately, we are throwing away $300 almost immediately. The one thing that is a saving grace for whenever you lose money in a meetup game is it's always going to subscriber, and that makes you feel good. Okay, here we are with our second hand of note. After that first hand not going in our favor, it'd be great to get the ball rolling in the right direction in the next hand. And let me give you guys a small spoiler, this ends up being a pretty big one. A few hands or a few orbits go by when this next hand comes off the rails. There are a few limps when the action gets over to me, and I look down at a suited 9-8. I go ahead and isolate this hand here. The small blind and the big blind make the call. We're going 3 ways off to a flop, to which we flop a gutter ball. Not too good for anyone, but I can pretend like it's good for me. I'm the initial raiser from the flop, or pre-flop I should say. You know, a little bit of bluff would never hurt nobody, especially with a little gutter ball. You know, hopefully we can take the pot down. I throw out a little prodding bet out there. We end up getting called. Not looking great here when the small blind calls. Obviously gonna have some part of this board. And the turn card is a pretty decent one. We end up now with a double gutter. Queen, Jack, 7-5 is now what the board reads. We can now make a straight with any 10 and any 6. Double gutters are really scary for the opponent and very good for me if I get there. My goal now is to put my opponent to the maximum test here, to put him on the most pressure possible. Our opponent can definitely have probably only as good as 1 pair here. Sometimes they can have sets, but I'd expect them to be raising those on the flop. So when the action's checked to me, I'm gonna go for gusto. I make it $275 over betting the pot. My opponent's sitting on about $400, and $400 is what's going in the middle. After a brief moment, he almost instantly just sticks it in my face. Well, now, considering how much money I put in there, there's no way we can fold, even though we obviously only have 8 clean outs. We are going off to a river, to which we don't improve as it comes out the jack. Our opponent chose ace-queen pretty quickly, played that one pretty deceptively, and got the most from me. Disappointing to say the least, but you know, this is a meetup session. We've got quite a few more hours to play, and hopefully we can find a way to get unstuck. Now that our phone has been charged and we can finally get back to some regularly scheduled poker hands, we've got a fun one here in store where we finally look down at what feels like a premium for us. After getting beat up in the first couple hands, a couple of early position players limp at this new table, the second table of the meetup day. And I looked down at Queen Jack offsuit. Like I said, we haven't seen many pretty hands, and we've been playing like 90% of hands, so this is definitely good enough to isolate. I raise it up here to 25, to which the button, the small blind, and the big blind, as well as the limper call, We're going like 5 ways or 4 ways off to a flop, and somehow we end up with a pretty decent hand. Queen, Jack, 7 is what the board reads. Top 2 pair, what feels like the effect of nuts here. I see bet for $60, to which the button calls, and the turn card comes at 7 of hearts. Doesn't change a whole lot here. It does pair the board now. We do now lose to hands like aces and kings, but then again, not really worried about that. Small chance my opponent can have a hand like 7-8 suited, but not going to be worried about stuff like that, at least not until I bet and get raised. So I go ahead and bet $225, going very massive here. Looking to target all of my opponent's top pair good kickers. Luckily for us, our opponent pretty quickly decides to go all in for 600. This is a fairly easy call for us. I go ahead and oblige. I match the bet, sir. We're running the board out twice here. The first river comes out the king of diamonds. Ugh, that's a pretty bad one. And the second river all but locks it up, at least for what I think is the best hand, as it comes out the jack of clubs, improving us to a boat. Doesn't seem like we need it because we expose our hand and it is in fact good. Never feels good winning in your own meetup game, but I will say that we are stuck piles, so finally heading in the right direction after a massive pot going in my favor. With a flick of a switch, we're damn near even. Got a couple more $100 to go, and hopefully the next hand is going to help us get a little closer to that goal. As there's a $6 straddle on, there's a couple of limps. Once again, the actions to me in middle position, and we look down at ace, queen of clubs. If there was ever a way to get back to even, this parking lot hand might not be the one. I make it $45 for an isolation. The action folds to the small blind, and this gentleman decides to go all in for 200. The action folds back to me, and this is an obvious call for us. Don't even have to think about it here, but we are going to go ahead and run it twice when the opponent asks us to do so. This first board comes out giving us the nut flush draw. The turn card comes out the 5 of hearts, reducing us to just the ace and the club to the river, and it comes the deuce of clubs. Improving us to the nuts on the top board, we have guaranteed locked ourselves up the first board. The second board comes out 7-3 deuce, turn jack, and river queen. Looks like we might have ourselves the winner. We expose our hand, and our opponent shows pocket queen, so we get lucky there. Luckily for him, we ran it out twice, and lucky for me, I got lucky in this hand. It is with a pleasure that I bring you guys a very important and much needed mid-session update. Not about the poker, but about a major announcement that I'm making to you folks now. Close to Scratch is officially live. We have some videos coming out every single week. If you guys are interested in watching, I hope to see you guys there. You guys can click the link at the top of the description. It'll be following my journey as I try to get over to Scratch as a golfer. I'm far from it now, but there's a very major bet, 6 figures on the line for me to get to a single digit handicap. If you guys want to follow that journey and you guys like golf, I can't wait to see you guys over there. It is going to be an absolute blast. And again, if you guys like golf, even the slightest, I think watching and checking out that channel will be definitely worth it. Gonna be doing golf course vlogs, different play vlogs, lesson vlogs, all that kind of stuff. So I'll see you guys there. Make sure to click subscribe. We're gonna be doing some awesome giveaways for golf stuff. Anyways, I'll see you guys over there. Close to Scratch, baby. We're back. Here we go, taking advantage of momentum. After that last pot, we get tangled in another fun one, and this time it comes by way of a bomb pot. Double board PLO, we're letting the action get off the rails, that's for sure. We're going to 2 flops here in the PLO world that come out ace-9, 3 on one board, and 10-8-8 on the other. On one of the boards, after we look down at our hand when the action checks to me, we see a unbelievable jack. 10-8-6 with 2 clubs. We flop ourselves the boat on one board and not a whole lot going on the other board. Luckily for us, we do, like I said, have a pretty strong hand on one of the boards, so when the action checks to me on the button in position, I bet pot. Make it $80 to go. Only one opponent here makes a call. We're going off to a turn card on the top board that comes up to 7 of diamonds, and on the other board, we improve to quads. Quads in our own meetup game is almost unfair. With the action checking over to me, my opponent has about 250 behind, and that's what is around what is in the pot. So I go ahead and go all in for the pot here. Our opponent calls it off. We're going to a river card, which we improve to the nuts on the top board, as we now have a straight as it comes a jack of clubs, and on the bottom board it's inconsequential. It comes up the queen of spades. Quads and the nut straight take it. A massive pot to finally get us in the right way. First we win a big one, then we chop a big one, and now we are here scooping a big one in the double board world. Let's go. In the following hand, once again the $6 straddle is on. There are once again quite a few limps. When the action gets to me in the small blind, I'm going to go ahead and isolate after I look down at pocket eights here. I make it $30 to go. Under the gun, limper makes a call. We're going heads up to a flop where somehow we find ourselves with middle set. With the action on me here, going to go ahead and size up a bit now. There's a bunch of dead money from the limps in there to add up for, so I'll make it $50 to go. Our opponent makes a call, and the turn card comes an interesting one as it comes out the 10 of spades. The front door flush is still out there. Some straights come in now, which obviously my opponent can be limp calling with. I make it 100 to go. I think at this point I'm a little disappointed. Going a little larger here, maybe not the place to be greedy, as it is my own private game, or my own meetup game I should say, but in hindsight, especially being that it is 2020, I think going a little larger here to continue to charge those draws that maybe even improve to open-enders like King, Queen of Diamonds, or Ace, Queen of Diamonds, holdings like that, I think we gotta go larger. But as it is, and as it stands, I make it 100 and my opponent calls. The river card comes out, an interesting one as it brings in that front door flush. Doesn't change much more though. I think at this point we have the only part of the hand that I really enjoy, which is a clear-cut check. If my opponent happens to want to bluff at it, I got to give him the opportunity to go for it. And if my opponent happens to have a hand that's now better than mine, it'd be best for me to just check call here as opposed to bet, get raised, and have to consider making a hero call or a hero fold. Obviously, when he checks back, we have the best hand. And he says that he would have probably called a bet after I show my hand on the river, as he thought possibly I was on a flush draw and got there. He might have folded, he might have called. Seems like he had a middling pair, maybe a top pair holding. All that to be said, like I was saying, I'm hoping to get hands to bluff that don't get there on the river. And either way, I don't know. Let me know how you think I play that hand. Button straddles onto $6 here. One of my best friends in the world, somebody that I came all the way out to Baltimore with and Washington with to enjoy a lovely wedding of another friend. Mr. Dustin is in the small blind, or in the blinds I should say, and he decides to limp it up. Under the gun limps it up as well. I am in early position with ace 10 offsuit. I isolate to $50. Action gets back to Dustin, who decides to back jam all in for $96. With the action folded back to me, this is the easiest call in the world. It doesn't matter what I have now. I've put too much money in the middle. I go ahead and make the call. Nearly a $200 pot, or a little more than that I should say, and he has queen 8 offsuit. We're looking in really good shape to get ourselves a little bit of that Dustin money, and it looks like that is going to have to wait another day as the flop comes out, giving him 2 pair, nearly leaving me drawing dead. The turn card breathes a bit of life into me as it comes out the 6 of clubs here. Any club now makes me the best hand, and the river comes a king of diamonds. Unfortunately there, we are not able to improve. Dustin is going to take the close to broke dollars, which inevitably will make me close to broke. Fresh off a double up, Dustin is feeling himself here in the next hand. He's in the small blind, the very next hand, and he decides to limp once again. Under the gun, limps as well, and the action gets to me here once again in early position. I've had enough of this tomfoolery. I'm making it $60 with pocket jiggities. Finally a premium, so we are not getting our hand caught in the cookie jars. We have a good hand to fight with. Next to act, thinks about it for quite some time. Obviously a new player to the game, and he makes it a min raise to 120. But with the action bit getting back to Dustin, he decides to back raise all in once again for $200. With the action on me now, I would be absolutely a fool if I were to be coming to my meetup game and 3-bet folding pocket jacks here. We're going to go ahead and make the call here, knowing we're probably behind, but we got to give some action. The opponent quickly makes the call, who 3-bets, and we're going to an unbelievable race of the century. Ace king for Dustin, pocket queens for my other opponent, and pocket jacks for me. The flop comes out with the 9 of clubs, followed by a jack. What? Oh no, there's a queen behind it. Yeah, that's not very good. The turn card comes out the deuce of clubs. Doesn't change much, and then the river comes a 5 of hearts. So unluckily for me, I don't get any more money. Unlucky for Dustin, coming all this way to Baltimore, he ends up busting his second bullet. And now he's running late to his flight back home west. Unfortunate for Dustin, that miracle comeback was almost had. But until next time, my good friend, we'll see you battling at the tables. There are so many bomb pots that happen in today's session, but like we talk about, bomb pots are a little tough to follow. But today, I had to mention this last one very briefly, in which we end up triple potting it with top set, as well as 2 pair and that double board POLO bomb pot helps me get over the hump and confirm a small profit on the day. All that to be said, the lovely gentleman that I did win that pot against is Mr. David. He is somebody that's in the aviation world and one of the many people that came to the meetup game today that came to the one the year before that we did with Wolfgang. To every single person that came out, I just want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart. We ended up getting 3 tables, which is not too shabby. Did not realize that there was a very major tournament going on that day at another casino nearby. But nonetheless, for every single person that came out, you were outstanding, you were wonderful, and I'm so happy we got to spend those 5 hours together. The lovely Horseshoe Casino, this is not possible without them. The fact that they care enough to have people like myself and other vloggers involved in this space goes a long way and is a telltale sign that they are here to stay and make a difference in their poker community moving forward. All that to be said, I want to throw it over to me in person after a very long day of travel. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's throw it over to me now at the airport.
I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy.
So that is going to bring our 2-day, like literally pit stop East Coast extravaganza to a close. We ended up in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, all in a matter of seconds, it felt like. But our trip has come to a close. A wonderful time. I just want to give a proper and genuine shout out to the staff at the Baltimore Horseshoe. I don't know if they get the credit they deserve. The staff there cares about their players. They make the effort to do what they can with the room they've got. And it's a wonderful and a special place. I cannot advocate for enough. If you guys didn't get a chance to come out, make the effort to come out and play even when I'm not there. Great excuse if you're looking for a reason to get down there. They're hosting the Run Good series, so if the Baltimore Horseshoe is not enough to get you out there, and their staff who's already wonderful, now you got the Run Good series who has some of the coolest people and some of the most respected people in the poker space hosting and running and coordinating those events. So I'll see you guys. It starts in early September. Hope to see you guys there. But until the next time, we were into the game for $1,600 into our own meetup game. It was match to stack. The game got pretty big, and we ended up out of the game for a measly profit of $17. We'll take it though after a couple of good things. Pretty solid day in the office. But until next time, I bid you guys a farewell. I've got a hurricane to not get hit by. See you guys soon. Stay happy, healthy, more importantly, we're good at the tables. Yo, deuces.